Hey, what's going on, guys? Hayes here for another Zenless on Zero video, and in this video I wanted to go over teams and alternatives that you can use to clear the new mode Deadly Assault. Remember to like and subscribe if you do enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's get into it. So starting off with Bringer, obviously, we obviously know who the choice is. The first choice that everyone needs to use is probably going to be Miyabi if you have her. There's no better option for this boss than her. And as for her slot 2 and slot 3, they're very flexible. You just need another anomaly and any support really, but for the best option, it'll probably be Inagi as the best option. But some alternatives can really be any anomaly, like even Bernice, but you might want to save her for Pompeii if you do have her. Piper is a free-to-play option. Very good. Even though the boss has physical resistance, you can still use Piper because it doesn't matter as long as she can proc Disorder with Miyabi. That's really the only thing that matters. And Grace works as well. She's very quick at applying shock for the Distorter, give Miyabi stacks, and proc the damage on the boss. So any of these work with her, to be honest. It's very flexible because it's really mostly Miyabi doing all the damage. And as for slot 3, Rina, if you have her, probably the best option that you could use, especially of M1. If you have M1, I mean. Miyabi, Vianagi, and Rina, very good team. Probably one of the best, if not the best in the game. But as I was saying, another alternative can be Sokaku. Very good alternative. Actually, I think, let me put her down there. I think I like Lucy better than Sokaku when you're running this disorder team. I do think I like Lucy better as well. But yeah. There's a lot of characteristics that you can use with Miyabi. Plus, you don't even have to use Anomaly. Let me put these guys back down. You can use Lycon instead, and then Sokaku would become a better choice than before. This is a Miyabi Full Ice team. This works wonderful with Bringer still. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Miyabi. You can use her on other bosses too. I do recommend using her on Bringer, as he's a very annoying boss. So what if you don't have Miyabi? If you don't have Miyabi, then some other people that you can use are, once again, Yanagi. This box is really anomaly coded. And Piper or Bernice, you could swap out these two, like Bernice and Piper. You don't need a Yanagi. But you just need a good disorder team if you don't have Miyabi. And once again, this would work. The full Sons of Chaos team, this would work wonderfully. You can even put in Nicole if you chose to for defense down. This team, any of these guys would work wonderfully as well if you do not have, Miyabi. But what I don't recommend is using somebody like Ellen or any stun DPS for that matter, because it takes too long to destroy the hand. You guys know hand I'm talking about. When he gets in that little mode, it takes way too long to destroy that hand if you're not proccing an anomaly or disorder, which is why even though the boss has an ice weakness, I really don't recommend using Ellen at all. And I almost forgot, obviously you make sure you are using the anomaly buff, whether you're using her for Lycon or Yanagi or any of the other anomalies. Make sure you're using the anomaly buff just for her, as it'll improve your gameplay by a lot. She doesn't really work well with any of the others. Okay, so moving on to Pompeii, like Miyabi for Bringer, Bernice will probably be the best choice that you can make for Pompeii if you do have her. She literally melts him, no questions asked. Similar to how Bernice was made, similar to how Miyabi was made for Bringer, Bernice was made for Pompeii. You get it. And for the first slot, although it doesn't really matter what slot you put her in, but I usually use her in slot 2, so we'll leave her in slot 2 for now. For the first slot, obviously Jane, next best choice that you can make. This duo, similar to Miyabi and Yanagi, will destroy Pompeii, no questions asked. And as for the third slot, if you have somebody like Caesar, that could work as well. Now, obviously, these are 3 limited S ranks, and I don't expect everybody to have that. So for some alternatives, we can use obviously Lucy instead of Caesar. Lucy works perfectly fine as well, and is one of the best choices you can make. And instead of Jane Doe, we can obviously use mini Jane Doe. Pfeiffer over here. And that's pretty much it. That's with the flexibility for the anomaly team. I mean, you could use, where there, instead of Bernice, if you don't have Bernice. If you have Jane, you could use her with Seth. Why is she doing that? I still have to get used to this whole format that I'm trying out, so bear with me, guys. You could use her with Seth and Lucy. This team works wonderfully, but I will say not as good as the extra burn that you get from Bernice. But this team does work fine as well. Now, let's say you don't have the anomaly. You can use Soldier 11. Yes, I know, Soldier 11. you can use her. I haven't done it myself, but I have seen videos of people clearing with Soldier 11, and I usually see them using Lighter, of course. If you do have Lighter, which I skipped, this would be a good duo that you can use, and obviously, once again, Lucy in the 3rd slot, or Caesar if you have her. This is a very good team that doesn't really require much anomaly. But if you are using the anomaly, guys, make sure you are using this buff. And honestly, even if I'm using an attack DPS, I might still use the anomaly buff as well, just because that's how good anomaly is on Pompeii. Okay, so last but definitely not least, because this might be the boss that you have the most trouble on depending on when you started playing, and the Marionette. And I say you might have the most trouble on this boss depending on when you started playing, because the best teams that work on this boss are teams that came out in like 1.0, 1.1. So if you don't have these guys, you might have a little bit of trouble, but there is somebody to help with that I will talk about later on. So starting off with the first team, the one that I personally used is Zhu Yuan, the classic Zhu Yuan, Xingyi, and Nicole. This team cleared the boss pretty fast, pretty well even. I think I got around 30k points with this team. It was pretty nice, and the buff that I used was the energy. I actually started off with the interrupt buff, this one down here, but obviously I didn't think that was working for me, so I switched to energy and I was able to clear it. And some alternatives, you know, gotta go over the alternatives just in case you don't have Xingyi. Just put in NB and you're chilling. So you just need to have one limited character and 2 of these guys that you literally get for free, and you'll be chilling. Okay, that is the Zhu Yuan team. Moving on to the Ellen team. I probably don't even have to like make the whole slot 1, slot 2, slot 3 for you guys to know what I'm talking about. Everyone knows the classic Ellen team, but I'm going to do it anyway. The classic Ellen team. Like, you should have no problem with this team either. This team will clear it pretty well. This is also why I say, depending on when you start playing, you might have the most trouble or the least trouble with this boss. And honestly, for these guys, you could use any of these buffs, whatever you prefer. I personally use the energy. Once again, I do like the extra energy, but I know some people do like the interrupt for Ellen especially. So what do you do if you don't have those 2? Well, honestly, there isn't much except if you've built the free guy that everyone has access to. Surprisingly, he works really well on this boss, because while the boss may not have a oops, where the hell did he go? There he is. While the boss may not have a electric weakness, it does have electric buffs. Where is it? Let me pull it up right here. I think it was the first, no, it was the last one right here. Yeah, where was this? Blah 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 blah. Each time you destroy a partner, you gain 1 out of 5 stacks of on thin ice respectively, and each stack of on thin ice decreases the damage dealt by the boss by 5% and increases the ice damage and electric damage dealt to the boss. Obviously, Haru. Why does he keep missing it? Where's my guy, bro? Why is bro invisible? There we go. Did I make him too big or something? Alright, hopefully he doesn't disappear again, but as I was saying, you do get electric buffs for him. And for the second slot, you can use someone like Xingyi, and an alternative member can be Anbi as well. And then for the third slot, you can use Nicole. This team works really well. Granted, you do have to have the latest new character built, which not many do have, because I know a lot of people have been ignoring him. But if you are having trouble with the Marionette, Harumasa might be the answer to your problems if you do not have Ellen or Zhu Yuan. And as for the Harumasa buff, honestly, once again, it's up to your preference. I do like the energy. I guess I just like a lot of energy considering I picked it every single time, but once again, it is all up to preference and you can pick either of these, just not the anomaly one to be honest. And with that, we've covered all the bosses for the new endgame mode Deadly Assault, and obviously I didn't go over every team combination, but I did try to be the most relatable based on what everyone might have at the current point of the game. I went with old teams, new teams, free to play teams, everything that somebody could possibly make on their account. Obviously there are outliers for the Marionette boss specifically. Like I've seen Billy solos, I've seen Ben, not solos, but I have seen DPS Ben. There is a lot of other teams that you can use, but I wanted to go with the most, what's the word, relatable, because not everybody's gonna go out here and build an insane cracked Billy, not everyone is gonna go out here and build a Ben. So I do hope the teams that I suggested were useful to you guys. If you have your own teams that you have used to clear the Deadly Assault, feel free to share them down below in the comment section, maybe help out somebody else that didn't really find help that they needed in this video. Maybe you can help them instead. But I do hope I was at least able to help one person. And I think that's all I wanted to cover for today. Remember to like and subscribe if you do enjoy the video. Once again, if you do have your own team suggestions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. This was Hayes. Peace.